now, Broad Street Sports, the best Philly sports podcast.
I would love to come on here and say that I'm surprised that the Eagles almost lost to the Panthers, but I'm actually more surprised that the Eagles were able to squeak by with a win, because the entire week coming into the game, everybody was saying, oh, this is a trap game, because how well the Panthers have been playing. They've been putting up a fight against Kansas City, against Tampa Bay. They're putting up fights. Okay, so I was surprised in the fact that the Eagles were able to beat the trap game, especially of how bad Jalen Hurts played, especially of how bad the game plan and the play calls were from Kellen Moore. I'm surprised the Eagles were able to hold on with the win when Jake Elliott decided to miss 2 field goals. How bad the secondary was. You're getting cooked by Adam Thielen. Now, I'm not saying that this was a good win because they were able to squeak by and beat the trap game. I'm saying that I was expecting them to lose tonight. I was expecting the Eagles to lose tonight by all means. I really was. I sat here. I came in. I sat down on the couch. 10 minutes before the game starts, I'm sitting down on the couch, and I'm like, I don't know where to. I didn't know how I was truly feeling about this game at all. I didn't feel good. Everybody, I'm in, my group chats, I'm saying, we're talking about the game, and everybody's saying, hey, Eagles are going to beat them. Eagles are going to crush these guys. It should be 50 to 7. The Eagles are going to murder these guys. You know what I mean? And as much as I wanted that to happen, as much as that should have happened, I didn't believe in my heart that was the way that this Eagles game was going to go at all. At all. And I knew it from the start. I knew it was a trap game. I knew the Panthers were going to wear us down. I knew they were going to come in and they were going to give us their best fight, their best effort. And they did just that tonight. Now, the Eagles were able to squeak by with a win because of how good Saquon Barkley actually is. But this was not a good win. This was not a shaky win. Or this was not a good win. This was actually a shaky win. Now, I bet all you guys are sitting here and saying, oh, we want him to rage. We want him to be angry and scream. As much as I would love to do it, I'm not that pissed. I'm just not that pissed. You want to know why I'm not that pissed? I'll tell you exactly why. The reason I'm not that pissed over this football game is because the fact that these kind of games where you have to fight to the bitter end, where it's a dog fight, that actually shows your true character. That shows the kind of dog you have in you. The fact that the Eagles were able to go head-to-head, toe-to-toe, and it was a dogfight till the end with the Panthers. Although they're not supposed to be in that. Although it's supposed to not to be that way. They were able to squeak by with a win. And that shows more heart, more enthusiasm, and it just shows that they actually care and that they're able to win sometimes a lot more than when you actually destroy a team. Because when you're able to play some of your worst football and you're able to still hold on and win the game, that shows you can fight through adversity and you can play and you can take it any way that you want to. Any way you want to. So again, that's another thing I want to reiterate and say. As much as I would want to come on here and scream and yell about the Eagles almost losing to the poverty Panthers, I'm actually happy and that they were able to be in a dogfight and hold on against this Panthers team. Now, I'm not saying that this Panthers team is a good team at all, and we should have destroyed them. But I think that shows that the Eagles have fight. The Eagles can battle through adversity. The Eagles will fight to the final whistle. that's more important sometimes, maybe a lot of the time, than actually beating the shit out of another football team. That actually does a lot of damage. That actually does a lot of wonders. When you're able to hold on, when you're able to fight through adversity, when you're able to do what you got to do to get a win, that shows that you have the fight to be there. Okay? That's one thing I really needed to clear up. Because a lot of people come on here and they want to see me rage. I can't rage. The team fought. They fought through adversity. They did what they had to do. Really, here's what my real main issue is from today. And it's from the offensive side of the football. I thought this was bad. I'm trying to drum up the correct words of how to start this because it bothers me. So here it is. I was surprised of how bad the play calling was out of Kellen Moore today. He saw that Jalen Hurts did not have it in him to pass the ball and to be a passer today. Especially when you're playing against one of the worst defenses in the league, one of the worst run defensive in the league. You should be able and you should be pounding the run down their throat. And the fact that it took Kellen Moore about 2.5 quarters to realize that you have to run the ball and that this team is a run-first offense is astonishing to me. It's crazy to me that we're this way, we're this far through the year, and he's still trying to make Jalen Hurts a pass-first player. He's trying to make this offense a pass-first team. And not only did he look boneheaded with his decisions with not running the ball with Saquon, but the routes were little league routes. A.J. Brown didn't get the ball past him. We passed the ball more to Alcantara, more to Gainwell, more to Jahan Dotson, more than we did to A.J. Brown. And I think that that's a disgrace in itself. This was a game you're supposed to beat the Panthers by 50 points, and you didn't. And it starts with the offensive play calls and the offensive game plan. They came in and they overlooked the Panthers. They cared more about the Pittsburgh game coming up than they did about this game tonight. And it showed. He looked stupid. He looked boneheaded. And the play calling decisions were awful. They were pitiful tonight. Really bad. They were bad. I don't know. I don't know where he gets this in his head. I don't know where he comes up with this stuff. And it's crazy to me. Because we've always been talking about how good Kellen Moore has been. The offensive shift we've seen since the bye week. Tonight was bad. And it took him two and a half quarters to figure out he has to run the ball at Saquon. Because he continued to want to pass the ball with Jalen Hurts when he knows he can't pass the ball. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's not that bad. I thought that they were going to come out in the second half and actually play a lot better from the offense side of the football. I was thinking they were going to make the adjustments, and they were actually going to execute the adjustments. Unfortunately, they didn't. It's not the end of the world. But I mean that's that. I mean but I thought that was really the biggest issue tonight was that offensive play calling. And then again, what is wrong with Jake Elliott? Now this is not the first game where he's missed a couple field goals. And the last time he did it, we blamed it on Nick Sirianni. We said, oh, well, this is what happens when Nick Sirianni wants to go for 2 every time. He wants to go for it on 4th down instead of kicking the field goals. That's why Jake Elliott missed it, because he was rusty. This time, Nick Sirianni has not been making the same boneheaded decisions. He's actually been kicking and taking the points with Jake Elliott. So we can't blame this on Nick Sirianni this time. So I'm actually concerned with what's going on with Jake Elliott. Is he in his head? I don't know, because he's supposed to be one of the best kickers in the league. And it got to the point tonight where Sirianni and the coaches did not trust Jake Elliott down the stretch, and they actually punted the ball instead of taking points to go up by 9. I thought that was crazy to me. That was crazy. You're not going to trust your guy down the stretch like that, even though he already missed those 2 field goals that were in crucial spots. That just shows that the coaches don't have any faith in Jake Elliott right now, that they would rather punt the ball, which worked in their favor, than kick the field goal and go up by 9 with Jake Elliott. Something's not right there. He's in his head. I don't know what it is. He needs to figure it out. He ultimately needs to figure it out, because it can't continue to happen. That shit can't continue to happen. Like if we were playing Buffalo, right? Let's say we're playing Buffalo, and you're down the stretch and you're in a crucial field goal spot. You have to kick a field goal to tie or win it, and you have to put Jake Elliott out there. I don't know how confident I would feel with Jake Elliott going out there to go kick a field goal. I don't know how confident I would be. And I feel terrible thinking that. But I have no idea how positive I would be to let him go out there like that. He's in his head. I think that's really what it comes down to. He's in his head. I don't think we can blame this on Nick Sirianni like we have before. I don't think so. Another thing that needs to be discussed is the defense. Look, the defense didn't play as great as they were earlier in the year. Well, the Eagles' defense didn't play as great as they have been. They played okay. They had a couple great stands at the end of the game. But the only real issue I had tonight with the defense was the secondary. The secondary was getting cooked by Adam Thielen the whole night. I mean, it was so there was some miscues, some misplays. C.J. Gardner-Johnson at the end of the game taking the butt bait, and then you have that wide open play down to the 5-yard line, which thankfully went incomplete. So I mean, the secondary played mediocre. I think that also goes down to the fact that you were without a couple of your safeties. You were at Blankenship. You were without Sidney Brown. And then, obviously, CJ was banged up a couple times, had to get taken off the field a couple times. So, again, the defense played good. They put pressure, and they were able to come up with stands. They were able to play smash-mouth defense. They were able to fight through the adversity and play the football that they had to. But I just don't think that the secondary played as good as they have been, good as they should have been. And I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking. But I just want to point that out, that there was some definite miscues out there on defense, which it happens. But yeah, definitely the secondary did not look that good tonight. And then here's another thing that really needs to be discussed, and that's Zach Bourne. It's Zach Bourne. I don't know. I didn't hear of this guy until this year, and he's just been lights out. So here's really what needs to be discussed. A lot of buzz has been going around in the Philadelphia sports community talking about how we need to extend Zach Bourne. I am all in on extending Zach Bourne right now. This guy's been playing out of his mind. He is one of the best, if not the best, defensive player the Eagles have week in and week out. Tonight, another outstanding performance out of him. 11 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and he had 2 hits on Bryce Young. He's playing out of his mind. And he's always putting pressure on the quarterback. He's always there making the tackle, and he's always all over the field. He's always there being ready to make the next big play. And we haven't had a linebacker that's like that. He's been able to not only elevate himself and make himself a better player, but he's been able to make Nakobe Dean and Nolan Smith much better players as well. So obviously Zach Bonds took the leap, but he's also made Nakobe Dean and Nolan Smith take the leap with him. And it's time that you extend Bond, because you cannot let a player like this walk. He's making significant amount of tackles, sacking the quarterback. He's all over the field. That's the kind of guy you want on your defense. And the Eagles have him. The Eagles have it. It's time to extend him. It's time to extend him. See? It's time to extend the guy. I don't know how you can let him walk. I have no idea how you could let Zach Bond walk. I have no idea. So, again, sloppy win ultimately from the Eagles tonight. Very sloppy win. I'm not happy about this win. I'm happy that we were able to get the win, but I'm not happy that I'm not happy in the way that we won the football game. So just like to recap on everything, obviously, Kellen Moore had a lot of issues tonight with his play calling. And I don't know that. Sorry. One last thing that I really think needs to be touched on is this. I thought that the Eagles came into tonight and looked. I think the Eagles came into tonight's game and overlooked the Panthers. I think they overlooked them, and they were more focused on Pittsburgh. They were more focused on Dallas and games after this Panthers game. I thought that they thought that they were just going to come in and steamroll the Panthers. But you can't come into this game and think that you're going to steamroll the Panthers, especially the way that they've been playing, especially the fight they've been putting on. So, I really just think that they came in and they thought that this was going to be a nice, easy, simple win against the Panthers, which obviously it wasn't. But, that's you can't overlook an opponent at all, ever. But, it is what it is. It's okay. It's all right. It happens. But, you're still able to squeak by with a win, able to beat the trap game. Because this was a trap game, folks. This was a trap game. And they were able to beat it, and that was good. So, But Eagles squeaked by. They're 11-2 on the year. They look good. Defense looks good. Offense obviously has some things that they need to clean up. But this was it's all right though. I'm not upset about this. You're 11-2. You got Pittsburgh at home next week. Huge game. You need to be able to make the adjustments and work your game plan. That's all you need to do. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in to the podcast, to the post-game show. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Broad Street Sports. So I post my live reactions right after the game and updates on what I'm going to be doing, what I'm going to be filming, But yeah, thank you all for tuning in to the podcast. I really do love and appreciate every single one of you. Have a good night.